shows that, definitely that speed is fascinating and that it's a rush, but it also shows that there's a lot at risk and there's a lot at stake.
Well, men in their cars.
Paul Walker seemed like the nicest guy in Hollywood. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed poster boy for California cool.
All right, look, I'm sorry, all right? I made a mistake.
You know what? You always make a mistake.
Always flashing that genuine smile and talking about cars, surfing, and family. But behind that laid-back charm and those piercing eyes, Walker was grinding his teeth over some serious frustrations with his co-stars. The Fast and Furious franchise made him a global superstar, but it also trapped him in a world of egos, fake personas, and Hollywood politics that went against everything he believed in. Walker came from a different place than most actors. He valued authenticity, professionalism, and keeping things real. When co-stars started treating the set like their personal playground or turned simple scenes into ego trips, Walker noticed, and he wasn't happy about it. From prima donnas who rewrote scripts to boost their own roles, to method actors who confused intensity with talent, Walker watched his franchise family turn into something he barely recognized. Some disappointed him with their unprofessional behavior. Others he felt were riding his coattails without earning their place, and a few simply rubbed him the wrong way with their fake tough guy acts. Before his tragic death in 2013, Walker had grown increasingly frustrated with the direction of his career and the people around him. 6. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. When Dwayne Johnson joined the Fast and Furious family in Fast 5,
Dwayne's the biggest guy.
Yeah?
And he's pretty athletic. I can do the most.
it should have been a celebration. The biggest action star in the world stepping into Walker's franchise. But for Paul, it felt more like a corporate takeover, disguised as creative expansion. Walker had spent a decade building the Fast franchise from a low-budget street racing film into a global phenomenon. It was his baby, his legacy, his ticket to superstardom. Then Johnson arrived with his massive star power, endless charisma, and Hollywood machine behind him. And suddenly, Paul felt like a supporting player in his own story. The guy walks in and immediately becomes the center of attention. Walker reportedly confided to a friend, "I've been carrying this franchise for 10 years, and now I'm the sidekick to a wrestler." The resentment wasn't about Johnson personally. It was about what he represented, the corporate Hollywood machine that could push out original stars in favor of bigger names and better marketing opportunities. Walker prided himself on the authentic family atmosphere he'd helped create on set. Johnson brought professionalism, efficiency, and business-first mentality that clashed with Paul's more relaxed approach. Where Walker wanted to hang out and build real relationships, Johnson treated filming like a precision operation. According to crew members, Walker grew increasingly quiet during Johnson's scenes, watching from the sidelines as The Rock commanded the attention Paul once enjoyed. "He's taking over my franchise," Walker allegedly told a close friend, "and there's nothing I can do about it." 5. Lucas Black. When Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift was announced without Paul Walker,
He's a freak. Because most of the time when guys get that big, they're not very coordinated, and they're not flexible, and they don't move well.
it felt like the ultimate betrayal. The franchise he'd built from the ground up was moving forward without him, and the studio had chosen Lucas Black as his replacement. For Walker, it wasn't just professional disappointment, it was a personal insult. Walker had poured his heart into Brian O'Connor, turning a simple undercover cop role into the emotional core of a billion-dollar franchise. Then the studio decided they could just plug in any young, blonde actor and keep the money machine rolling. Black's casting felt like a slap in the face to everything Walker had contributed. "They think any pretty boy with a southern drawl can do what I do," Walker reportedly told his agent. But it's not just about looking good next to cars. The frustration deepened when Walker watched Black's performance. The thick Alabama accent, the wooden delivery, the complete lack of chemistry with the supporting cast, it all reinforced Walker's belief that he'd been disrespected. Black's acting limitations became a constant source of private criticism from Walker. "He can barely deliver a line without sounding like he's reading cue cards," Walker allegedly complained to a friend. "And they chose him over me?" The fact that Tokyo Drift performed poorly at the domestic box office only validated Walker's concerns. When the franchise came crawling back for Fast and Furious, Walker returned, but the damage was done. He'd watched someone else fail at playing his role, and it left him feeling both vindicated and bitter about being pushed aside in the first place. 4. Michelle Rodriguez. On screen, Letty Ortiz was the perfect match for Dom's crew.
It wasn't a sadness that he's gone, it was more like a jealousy that he's there first.
Tough, loyal, and ready to throw down at a moment's notice. But off-screen, Paul Walker found Michelle Rodriguez's intensity exhausting and her personal drama increasingly toxic to the family atmosphere he cherished. The problems started early. Rodriguez's method approach to playing tough meant she never really turned it off. Where Walker could joke around between takes and keep things light, Rodriguez stayed locked in character, bringing a confrontational energy that made everyone walk on eggshells. She's always looking for a fight, even when the cameras aren't rolling, Walker reportedly told a crew member during the first film. It's like she thinks being angry makes her a better actor. But Walker's real frustration came from Rodriguez's offset controversies that kept pulling negative attention to the franchise. The DUI arrests, the public feuds, the inflammatory social media posts. Walker watched it all while trying to maintain his clean-cut image. He worked hard to keep Fast and Furious family-friendly, and Rodriguez's personal life kept threatening that reputation. She brings too much baggage, Walker allegedly confided to a close friend. Every time we're getting good press, something happens with Michelle that reminds everyone we're not actually a real family. The breaking point reportedly came when Rodriguez's legal troubles caused insurance issues that nearly delayed production. Walker believed in second chances, but he also believed in professionalism. And to him, Rodriguez's pattern of self-destructive behavior showed a lack of respect for everyone else depending on the franchise's success. 3. Jordana Brewster. The chemistry was supposed to be electric. Brian and Mia, the heart of the Fast family.
Paul was just a magnificent man, and so to have, him not be here anymore is just absolutely...
The love story that gave all the car chases emotional weight. But for Paul Walker, working with Jordana Brewster felt more like a chore than romance, and the forced nature of their relationship became a constant source of frustration. Walker was a natural on screen, effortless and authentic in every scene. Brewster, trained in classical acting, approached every moment with calculated precision that felt mechanical to him. Where Walker wanted spontaneity, Brewster brought rehearsed emotion. Where he sought genuine connection, she delivered textbook romance. It's like kissing a drama school graduate, Walker reportedly told a friend after filming their first love scene. Everything's perfectly executed and completely lifeless. The contrast became more pronounced as the franchise evolved and their characters' relationship deepened. Walker believed great chemistry couldn't be manufactured, and despite multiple films together, he and Brewster never found that spark. Every romantic scene felt like work. Every family moment seemed forced. The irony wasn't lost on him that a franchise built on family featured a central relationship that felt artificial. She hits her marks and says her lines, but there's nothing behind it, Walker allegedly complained to a director. The audience deserves better than going through the motions. Walker's frustration extended beyond performance. He felt Brewster's casting was based more on look than talent, another reminder that Hollywood prioritized appearance over authenticity. The professional relationship remained cordial, but Walker privately wished for a co-star who could match his natural ease instead of making every scene feel like an acting exercise. 2. Tyrese Gibson. Roman Pierce was supposed to bring humor and heart to Too Fast, Too Furious.
Me and Paul were smashing the same girl on the set of Too Fast, Too Furious and didn't even know it.
Instead, Paul Walker found himself babysitting a grown man who confused being loud with being funny and treated every day on set like his personal comedy show. The problem started immediately during their first film together. Walker approached acting with quiet professionalism, showing up prepared and focused on getting the job done efficiently. Tyrese brought chaos, constant improvisation, and an exhausting need to be the center of attention in every scene. He thinks every take is a chance to do stand-up, Walker reportedly complained to the director. We're trying to make an action movie, not a Tyrese Gibson variety hour. The frustration deepened when Tyrese's antics started affecting production schedules and other actors' performances. Walker valued the collaborative nature of filmmaking, but Tyrese's ego made everything about him. If a scene wasn't working, Tyrese would blame the writing. If his jokes fell flat, he'd blame the editing. If co-stars seemed annoyed, he'd claim they didn't understand his creative process. The guy can't take direction without turning it into a negotiation, Walker allegedly told a friend. Everything has to be explained like he's doing us a favor by showing up. But what really bothered Walker was Tyrese's social media presence, constantly posting behind-the-scenes drama and personal business that Walker felt cheapened the franchise. Walker believed in keeping work professional and private life private. Tyrese's constant need for validation and attention went against everything Walker stood for, turning their working relationship into an endurance test rather than creative collaboration. On Vin Diesel. This was the big one. The relationship that defined Paul Walker's career and ultimately broke his heart.
Oh no, I feel good because I know they can't do the things that I can do. You know, like it's just, you know, look at all the professional athletes that are.
What started as mutual respect between two actors building something special turned into a decade-long power struggle that left Walker feeling like a prisoner in his own franchise. In the beginning, Walker and Diesel were partners, two unknowns betting everything on a street racing movie that nobody expected to succeed. But as the franchise exploded and the money started rolling in, Diesel's ego grew exponentially, and Walker watched his creative partner transform into a Hollywood dictator. The first warning sign came during Fast and Furious when Diesel insisted on producing and having creative control. Suddenly, every script became about Dom Toretto's journey, every scene needed Diesel's approval, every decision flowed through his vision of family. Walker found himself relegated to supporting his own co-lead. He thinks he invented the concept of loyalty, Walker reportedly told his agent. Everything has to be about Vin's philosophy, Vin's character, Vin's idea of what family means. But the real breaking point was Diesel's insufferable method acting approach to action films. Taking 20 takes for simple dialogue, holding up production for hours while he found his motivation, turning car chases into deep emotional experiences. "We're making popcorn movies, not Hamlet," Walker allegedly complained to a friend. But Vin treats every line reading like he's accepting an Oscar. Walker's professionalism kept him silent publicly, but privately he grew to resent the man who'd hijacked his franchise and turned their partnership into a one-man show. The family rhetoric became particularly galling when Walker felt like an employee rather than an equal. Paul Walker's tragic death left these tensions unresolved, frozen in time like unfinished business. The nice guy image was real, but so was his frustration with Hollywood's fake family politics. Which revelation shocked you most? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more untold celebrity secrets.